Okay, so today we are going to go to another topic that will refer to portfolio theory, which is chapter 10 of our pack. So as usual, we are going to pick those page one after the other. We discuss together. Then from there, we go to our practice questions. Portfolio theory. From our previous knowledge, we said that when we are determining cost of equity, we agree that there are basically three methods of calculating cost of equity. We talked about dividends with growth, dividend without growth, and capital asset pricing model. And invariably, we just try to talk about them in brief there. But today, this theory is going to talk about them in full. So let's go straight to page 257 from our part. Page 257 from our part. 257, I don't know. So for you to be on the same page with me, open your part, then let's start together. Risk and investment. Risk and investment. Risk and return in investment. Investor invests in shares and bonds in the expectation of making a return. The return that they want from any investment would be described as, what we're saying is that when an investor puts money in some investments, he's automatically expecting some returns. And those returns that we're expecting, they are as follows. One, a return as a reward for providing funds and keeping those funds invested. What we're saying is this, as an investor, what you are looking for is a return for putting your money in a particular fund investment. Okay? The fact that you have put your money there, you are expecting a return. Plus, a return to compensate the investor for the risk. Two things involved. I may borrow you my money. All things be equal. If I didn't attach any risk to it, I'm expecting a return for that. The fact that I tie down my money with you, I should be getting a return for that. And plus the fact that there could be a credit risk involved that you may not pay. Then, if I'm to get return now, I should be looking for two types of return. That is, return on me, tie down my capital, and return on what? On the risk that you may not pay. So that means for every investor, we are looking for return from two angles. Return for me investing my fund, and return for me what? The risk that involved in my investment. So as a basic rule now, an investor we expect a higher return when the investment risk is what? Is higher. Can you see now? That is, whenever there's a high risk, there's always a what? A high, that's like the popular language. I mean, the higher the risk, the higher the return. That's what we are saying now. What is now investment risk? We are saying investment as a risk. What is now return? That is investment risk now. So investors in bond. Don't forget, as like what we said last week, we said there are different types of return on the stock of finance. I mean, we have return on equity. Am I talking now? Yes. We have return on what? On debts. And we say that debt, there are various. We have redeemable debts, irredeemable debt, convertible debt, also preference shares. So now, if you now as an investor, you can decide whether to invest in equity, or to invest in what? In debts. So if you invest in debt, so any type of debt, it could be bond, it could be debenture, it could be loan stocks, it could be bank loan, or it could be trade payables. If you invest in that, remember what the risk are you exposed to? Investor in bond, investor in shares, and companies all face what? Investment what? Risk. Don't forget that the investor will give the company money, the company will have money to what? To also invest, So maybe both the investor in bond, investor in share, including the company itself, all of them face what? Investment what? Risk. I want to get that place. I want to say page. What are we dealing with now? Portfolio. You cannot talk of portfolio without first of all refer to what? Risk. Am I talking now? Without talking about risk. So that's why we're talking about risk now. So bond. Now investor in bond, I said that for the bond now, in case of bond, if you invest in bonds, the risk for investor is as follows. That is, whenever you invest in bond, that is, whenever you invest in debt, whenever you borrow anybody your money, these are the risks that we are exposed to. Yàbọ̀lá rẹ̀ kò fi chọ́ọ̀kì lásán gan. Ó yẹ kẹ́ ẹ dúró fún àwọn chọ́ọ̀kì lásán gan. Ó bá yẹ nítorí tẹ̀lifíọ́n mi ṣiṣẹ́ látàárọ̀ mo bínú o. Number one, yàtúnṣe kábẹ̀rẹ̀. Okay. The bond users. Now the risk that the bondholder, if you invest in bond now, the risk that you expose to go. Once you invest in bonds, the risk that you are exposed to one, the bond users may what? May default. That is, the person that borrowed the money from you may what? May default and fail to pay the interest on the bond, or fail to repay the principal at what? Maturity. Now, he may default. Once he default, he may not pay your interest. Even the principal. Then that's one of the risks. That's one of the risks that we're exposed to anytime you invest in what? In debt. Number two risk that we're exposed to. There may be a change in market interest rates. The interest rate of that day may change in the market. And don't forget, whenever the interest rate is changing, it will have effect on the market value of that debt. I mean now, when you are talking market value of the debt, interest over cost of debt. I mean, so once the interest rate is changing like that, it will affect the market value. So definitely, the value of the investment will fall if God you can sell it. So there may be a change in the market rate of interest, including interest yield on the bond. A change in yield will alter the market value of the bond. Hello, how to that please? A change in the yield will alter the market value of the bond. Now, if the interest rates rise, anytime the interest rate is increasing, the market value of the bond will fall. Any increase in the interest rate will make the value of the debt to fall. And any fall in the interest rate of the debt will tap the value. The value will go up. That's the risk that you're exposed to when you invest in debt. Now, in the examination, you may be told to assume that debt capital is what? Is risk-free. Don't forget that in our formula of calculating, there's always a what? Risk-free. Sometimes you can be told that you assume that the debt is to be risk-free for the purpose of analyzing the cost of equity. In practice, however, only what? Government debt dominated in the domestic currency of the government is what? Is risky. What I say that in reality, nothing like risk-free. It's only the government debt bond dominated in that currency that is what? It's always a risk-free. So that is if you invest in the debt. Now, what if you invest in share? In case of equity share, the risk for investor are that one, the company might go into what? Liquidation. When the company goes into liquidation, who suffer most? The shareholders. So that's one of the risks that you're exposed to. Once you invest in share, that company can become, you can liquidate it. Then once happen, there will be a problem. Number two, much more significantly, the company's profit might fluctuate and dividend might also rise or fall for some year to the next. That is the volatility of your dividend. Sometimes dividend payments. Come and see that there is a space here. So for investor now, anytime you invest in equity now, for investor in equity, the biggest investment risk come from uncertainty and change from 1 year to the next in the annual profit and dividend. I've said this about that there are some companies over for the past 10 years they don't declare dividend and you have invested. So that's all of the. So when the profitability is changing up and down like that, it always have a negative impact on dividend that they are going to declare. So it affects. That's another risk that you are exposed to. Then change in expected profit and dividend will affect the value of what? Of the share. Don't forget that from our dividend management model, we say a company that does not declare dividend, what happens to the market value? The market value can fall. So that means that's another product we normally have. Then bigger risk is associated with greater variability in what? In annual earnings and dividend. So you can see now, when you invest in debt, you should know the risk that you're exposed to now. Am I talking now? If you invest in debt, what are the risks are you exposed to? Number one, if you invest in debt, what are the risks that you're exposed to? The usual may be what? A default. You may not pay the interest and the principal as I went to. Number two risk, market work. It changes in interest rates. If you get a change, a higher interest rate will bring the value down. A lower interest rate will bring the value up. These are the risks you face when you invest in debt. But when you invest in share, what are the risks you're exposed to? Liquidation risk. The company can go to liquidation, and once it's liquidated, who suffer most? The ordinary shareholder. Second risk is fluctuation in profits. Sometimes, if the profit goes up, you can pay dividend. So the variability in earnings and dividend is a risk that you also exposed to. These are the major risks. But now, that's for the investor. Ordinary share and equity holders and debt holders now. Let's now look at the company itself. When a company invests, the company that is now using the money, sometimes when they invest in a new project, there will be an investment risk. This is the risk that actual return from the investment will not be the same as expected return, but will be higher or lower. Now, sometimes when we are most of our years we are doing one or two business. You may invest in a particular business and you are expecting a very higher return. At the end of the day, return might not be as what you are expecting. These are the challenges that you normally have when you are doing investment. So companies also face that of the challenge. Now, this investment risk for companies is similar to the investment risk faced by equity investors. Some type of investment are more risky than what? Than others. I mean now, yeah, am I making sense? Yes. Some type of investment are more risky than others. You can't compare the risk in travel business. You can't compare to the risk in the supermarket business or IT. Okay, IT is the worst part of it. Transportation and supermarket or IT, as which one is more risky? IT, because changing more in technology before you know, upgrade on market. So some type of investment are more risky than others because of the nature of the industry and market. For example, investment in supermarket group in building a new supermarket is likely to be less risky than investment by an IT company in new type of software. This is because the IT business is inherently more risky than the supermarket business. When business risk is higher, returns are less predictable. Hello, when there is a higher risk, you can't predict the return. You can't predict the return. The returns are less predictable or more volatility, and the expected return should be higher to compensate for a higher risk business. So when there is a higher risk business like that, it always comes with what? Do you think MM are stupid? When they tell you that you get 30% in how many, is it 30% or 50%? 30% in how many days? 1 month. Do you think they are stupid? They are not stupid. Which business do you do that you have 30% return within 1 month? So they understand the risk involved. That is the level of risk is very high. Some people do business, some people take the risk and they jello. Abi, àwọn jello, àwọn yegini, àwọn sọmọ ọgọ. Kílẹ̀ sọ, ẹ ṣe àbí? Tẹ́tà ẹ̀wá orúkù. Ìṣẹ̀lẹ̀ ló pé èmi pé 1 million ó dẹ̀ lọ bẹ́ẹ̀. Seriously, did you actually? I'm just the kind of person that I don't know how to take risk. That's why I didn't enjoy that element. Almost 6 months. 6 months before that program entered Nigeria with God. The Baiji, we are together, colleague in this center. One of his friends was in UK at that time. We were reading like this together in the career. That guy now called me. Benji, the guy see business come. So the moment there is a person, is a funny guy. They spoke at length. So he put his phone speaker. So we were always there. Hey, when you put money, the broker they return the MMO. I will introduce you. I will be your guardian. All of a sudden, my child, as I saw running, I wish you business with that. After 6 months, that was when I started hearing the program. A month later, the Ghana came down to Nigeria. When the guy was doing his master's in UK, the Ghana came down to this center. The guy brought his car. He was not there when the people negotiate business. Oh, this is the brother of the business. The guy now follow him to his hometown. They are from the same village. He later called to Paris. This for me, whatever. I'm also well. At the end of the day, whatever is my heart, my pussy. But the logic no, but so I say this is the risk. For you having 30% return like that, the risk is very low. That's why some investment, there are some investment like that. The risks are high, the return also low. Okay, let's go down now. The point is this: how do we measure this risk? How once you have investment, how mathematically, how can we measure it? Okay, measuring risk as a variance or standard deviation of expected return. One of the tools, one of the statistical tools that we normally use to measure risk is what? Variance and standard deviation that we can use to measure this risk. Now go. The risk of a variation in annual profit and dividend can be what? Can be measured. We can measure it statistically. When annual return can differ by large amount from number or expected return, average return, and there are considerable difference in return from one year to the next, return are volatile. That is, if the return can be changing, what you have year one, then what you have year two, what you have year two, then what you have year three, and there are some different like that. They will say such are what they are volatile in nature. Most probably it is that they are often, maybe sometimes every month. What you have this month, we just okay, next month coming down. They are saying they are what? They are volatile in nature. Now, high volatility of in return is associated with what? Higher investment risk. Any investment that their returns are just changing regularly, up, down, like what our Nigerian currency is doing now. Just be going up every day, then Bitcoin will be ahead. So therefore, that means there's a higher risk in that investment. Now, risk can be measured statistically. You can measure it mathematically. Either from the analysis of historical returns achieved in what? In the past, or from probability estimates of return in what? In the future. Probability estimate of the return in, it can be from the past or probability of the return. I would better please. We can measure risk. The measurement of risk is a measurement of volatility of a possible return, the likely outcome, possible return that you can have. This volatility can be measured as either the variance or standard deviation. That is, if you are trying to measure this return, we can use what? Variance analysis or what? Or standard deviation. I want to say, please, of expected return. For an investment, we can measure both the expected or average return and a variance or standard deviation of the return. The standard deviation is the square root of what? Of variance. We are still looking around there. So when we are talking about variance, invariably, we can put our formula for variance by saying our variance is equal to summation probability into brackets return minus expected return or square. But when you are not looking at standard deviation now, it will be the square root of the variance. Square root of all this one now, that will be your standard deviation. So we can work on this one after the other. If you are not familiar with the calculation of variance, study the following example and carefully. So if you have forgotten something about variance, these are available for you to what? To put you refresh your brain now about what variance is all about. So let's look at it together now. Example, page 260. Page 260. Your own, Abi? 250, 259, Abi? 259. I'm not sitting my own. Oh, wow. Shut it. 259. Now let's look at this one together, please. Measuring risk as a standard deviation, as a variance or standard deviation of expected return based on historical analysis. It has been established that the probable return on equity investment A are as follows. Investment A, the returns are as follows. Don't forget, in this analysis, what are we trying to achieve? We are trying to achieve the what? We want to measure the risk. Now, the probability of the return, please give me the probability, please. 0.2, 0.5, 0.3. Then the likely return that we're expecting 2%, 6, and 8. These are the likely return that we're expecting. When we are getting our risk measurement, like variance, the first thing that should come to your mind is to estimate the expected return. What do I call it? Expected return. Expected return is determined by calculate the summation of your probability times your return. Summation of your what? Probability times what? Times return. That is, if this is your probability and this is your return, your expected return should be 0.2 times 2%. What do you have? 0.4. 0.5 times 3, 6%. 3. Then 0.3 times 8, 2.4. By the time you add it together, how do you have this? 5.8. This is what expected return. That is, if you invest in this project, the amount that you are actually expecting is what? Is 5.8 based on the probability and the likely return that you are expecting. That is, if your probability is 2%, your return is how much? 2 naira. 2% that. If your probability is 50%, what do you have? 6%. If your probability is 3%, what's your return? 8%. Then the expected return from this investment is what? Is 5.8%. I want to get that, please. So the first thing, when you are trying to determine measuring the risk, the first that you come to your mind is what? To estimate the expected return. Once you have done that, you cannot go ahead and measure your risk. Please, there's a table that we normally use when you are computing your risk. Now look at it now. We are starting for probability as usual. We are going for our return next. That is the probability 0.2, 0.5, 0.3. Then our return is what? 2, and 6, and what? And 8. The next thing is that you will subtract each of these return in line with different probability from the expected return of this investment. That will be the return minus expected return. Return minus what? Expected return. When probability is 2, how is our return? 2. 2 minus 5.8. What do we have? Minus 3.8. That would be minus 3.8. I will do that, please. Then, if your return is 6%, what's your expected return? 5. That would be 6 minus 5.8. What do you have? That would be 0.2. Like this, Abi. Then, if your return is 8, and expected return is 5.2, what's your difference? 2.2. Having done this, the next thing to consider is to square your division. That will be return minus expected return or what? Or square. Let's square it now. minus 3.8 squared.
14.44.
That will be 14.44 like this, Abi. Then our 0.2 squared 0.04. Then our 2.2 squared 4.84. The next thing now is to now multiply this by probability. That will be probability multiplied by return minus expected return squared. That will be 14.4 times probability of 4.2. 2.88. 3 let's maintain two decimal place. 89, okay. Next. 0.02. 1.3. Is it 34? 45. 1.45. By the time you add it together now, that will be our what? Variance. Look, okay, we say variance is equal to summation of probability to bracket return minus expected return or square bit. That's what we have here, bit. Summation now is your variance. So what's summation now together, please? 4.3. That's our variance. If now take a step further, by calculate your standard deviation, our standard deviation is the square root of what? Of variance. I mean, so our standard deviation will not be what? Square root of 4.36. What do we have? 2.09. That will be our standard deviation. Now, questions are? Barista? Barista, bless all.
Sorry.
Barista, only who they go, only go to see. Only ṣe lọ́yà tó máa bọ̀ láìka àti táìkẹ́ tó yẹ. Màá lè bọ́ ta kíláàsì mi o. Actually, all those financial institutions, they use it very well to measure the use of investment. So it's no other do mathematics those in school. Abi business mathematics, so I come across this very well. So Barista, you do not want you. So you are welcome. But you are welcome.
Thank you.
Okay. Now, that's for that. So what I'm trying to say is this. We have technically measured, I mean, this investment now is having a risk of how much? 2.09% as a risk of this investment. Okay, let's take a step further now. We can actually reduce this risk. We can actually what? I think this old part, there are some things that are added now. I don't know why my part is done. Let me try to report it. And I have the one with me, but I paid just miss. Okay, yeah. Go to page. Now I'm using new paper and something has added to it. Yeah. So go to page 260 now in the new paper. Now, concept of return. Now, how do that, please? This return on investment. Have you seen it? In the old park, you are using old parks, sir. You are using the old park. You are using Old Testament. Concept of return is very clear to our class. Abi àwọn ẹ̀sìn ẹ̀yìn ẹ̀yìn ṣubú student abi. Okay, let's continue. Concept of return now. Concept of return. What we are trying to look at is the investor owns security. I will say that please. Investor owns security, e.g., share, bond, etc. Because they owe for positive return. Everybody they want to make a return. Purchasers of ordinary share, for example, are attracted by two components of return. First, the anticipated dividend payable during the holding period, and second, the expected capital gain. I've said this several times when I talked about the last time. I said for every investor, in most cases, they are expecting two return. One, dividend I want to be receiving. Two, share price growth. I mean, they buy share 10 naira. After 1 month, ó dá èlò 15 naira, abi? They sell. What's the gain? 5 naira. So for every investor, they always anticipated that total growth. So in total now, some are very lucky. They will collect dividend, abi? They will collect dividend, and yet the price has increased, abi? They can also sell to make a capital gain. That means they are enjoying two types of return. One, dividend they are receiving, and capital gain. That's share price. Now, my goal. So therefore, my goal in conclusion now. For example, let me read that statement again. Investor owes security, e.g. share, bond, etc. because they owe for positive return. Purchasers of ordinary share, for example now, are attracted to two components of return. First, the anticipated dividend payable during the OD period, for the period that they are going to hold the investment. The dividend they are anticipating as number one. Number two, second, the expected capital gain. So in general now, for any OD period, the percentage return for all the periods that you are holding that investment, your return that you should be expecting is one, capital gain plus dividend. What do I call it? Dividend. What's capital gain now? Your share price appreciation. I mean, it was 10 naira before. It's now what? 20 naira now. How much capital gain? 10 naira. Then if the company declare dividend for that period, what do? You have to deduct your return. If you are not providing percentage, then divided by the earlier price. That's why you see the formula. That is, in your part, you see the formula. The return is capital gain, earlier value. That's the beginning value. Minus beginning value. End value. Minus beginning value, then plus dividend all over beginning value. Times 100%. Are you seeing now? That is, if let's look at this example together. Let's look at this example together. Emma, go. I will tell you that, please. Let me tell you, the truth matter is this. SFM is theory plus calculation, and I can bet with you, if you don't understand them theoretically, you will find the calculation aspect very difficult. That's why you must be patient with yourself. Now, as I'm reading, be following me and get any question of any kind. Just what you do, ask, and I will explain. Because once you understand all this, very soon now, you'll not be giving figure. Calculate the return. Calculate the return. You have to understand how do you get return. For every investment in share, you are expecting two forms of return. Capital gain and what? And dividend. So if your capital gain is increasing, then what do you do? You add the dividend. Now let's look at this example together in the manual. Example, page 260 from our pack. You bought a stock for how much? 150 naira. When you bought the stock, how much do you buy it? 150 naira. It is now worth how much? 155. That should be a mistake. So okay, sorry. You bought it for 50 naira. Check here. You bought it for 50, not 150. Check to 50 naira. You bought the stock for 50 naira, and it's now worth about 55 naira. During the period, you receive a dividend at what? At 2 naira. Calculate one, the total return. So if when you buy it, the beginning value of this bond, of this share is how much? 50 naira. Then it is now, that's our end value. Our end value is how much now? 55 naira. And this company declared dividend. You receive it, only way you receive dividend. Dividend received. Dividend received for the period. A lot of 2 naira. So what number one? What is your total return? The total return. Don't forget, we said total return is what? Capital gain, capital gain plus what? So your capital gain should be what? 55 minus, because when you buy it for 15 naira, now it's how much now? 5 naira. That your capital gain is what? 5 naira. So that means your capital gain is 5. That is 55 minus what? 50, then plus, how much dividend do you receive? 2 naira. How much is it now? 7 naira. That means your capital, your total return is what? 7 naira. Are we together, please?
Yes,
Are we together? Okay. Let's take the second step now. Calculate the capital yield. Calculate the what? Capital yield. Oh, sorry. Don't forget that you can also combine this one to percentage. I mean, by dividing by what? Beginning value. What are beginning value? Let me calculate to be percentage now. And you will now be 7 divided by beginning value. How much? 50 there. Times 100%. You get it? Okay, 40%. That's our total returns. But your capital yield. Capital yield is talking about yield here, capital gain alone. Hello? Your capital yield is talking about what? Capital gain alone. So your capital yield now, your capital yield, your capital, that's number 2. Your capital yield is, what's our beginning value? End value is 50, 55 value, minus beginning value 50, divided by beginning value 50, or times 100%. Oh yeah, no, 10%. That's be our capital yield. What's our dividend yield? What's the formula for dividend yield? Formula for dividend yield. No more formula for dividend yield. Yeah, no dividend yield meaning dividend yield is normal thing. That will be dividend per share, divided by what? Market price per share. I've been another dividend yield now. Now, as at how much dividend do we declare? 2 naira. What's our beginning value? 50 naira and 100%. Okay, you 4%. Can you see that total value should be what? 10 plus 4. Give us what? 14. How much do we have last time? 14. So you can ask us to do that when you are calculating your return. Are we together, please? Okay. So please, these are the simple things that you should be very careful about when you are calculating your return on investments. Okay. Now let's take a step further. Expected return for 2 asset portfolio. It is possible. It is possible when we say a portfolio. Portfolio is a combination of 2 or more investments. Hello, is what? Combination of what? 2 or more investments. That's the language. Don't put your egg in what? In one basket. Diversify a little bit. Now, when an entity has 2 investments in a portfolio, then how do you calculate your return on that portfolio as a whole? Am I talking now? This is what we're saying. If you have in a particular portfolio, you have investment A and investment what? B in that portfolio. That means you combine them together in that portfolio. Technically, you are doing pharmaceutical business. You are also doing supermarket business. I mean, 2 in what? 2 in 1. Now, the return from them, because you are seeing them as what? As one. I mean, normally you are seeing them, but don't forget, each of them is bringing in what? Return on their own. I mean, so in total now, what is this kind of where you have 2 investments, call it what? 2 asset portfolio. Am I talking now? If you have 2 investments, call it what? 2 asset portfolio. If you have 3 4 so it depends on the number of investors you have that take their number. So if you have 2 investments like this, investment A and B, you now ask you what is the return on this investment. Now, in a simple language, it is the weighted average. Is what? Weighted average of this return of this. Now, what I'm saying is this. On A alone, if an A alone, we have return, which we call return of A. I mean, I'm a lot of B alone, I'm taking return of B. So if you find their weighted average, please, there's a difference between simple average and weighted average. Am I talking now? Simple average, 1 plus 1 divided by 2. Simple average. Weighted average is that you place them on a proportion. Now, proportion means that if you have 100,000 naira, that's what you have. 100,000 naira, you invest 50% in A. How much is that? 50,000. you invest 50% in B. How is that? That is the proportion of your investment. What I call it is proportion of your investment in those there. How much do you, what percentage of your investment into it? So if you now have your proportion of investment, your percentage now, then if that is 50%, plus 50% now, your weighted average is just this time D, then divided by 2 times. That gives you your work. That's when invariably, invariably, the return on 2 asset portfolio, return on 2 assets portfolio is the return of A times your proportion of investment weight of A. You know, that is the proportion of your investment in that A. Then plus the return of B times what? Proportion of the method of what? You can call what? Weight of B. By the time you add this together, that's your return on what? Of portfolio. You are now paying the weighted average of the returns. So for any of your investment, the return on your investment, either is a 2 asset, 2 or 3 asset, 4 asset. What are you looking for? You are looking for what? The weighted average of the return portfolio. That is the figure that's the formula that you are seeing in page 261. How about that? That's always today. Those go. Example. Now, note, look at this formula very carefully. I can break the formula down a little bit. I can put this formula, I can say or return of A multiplied by weight of A plus return of B into bracket 1 minus weight of A. This and this will be the same thing. Am I talking now? If this one is, if you hold this one as a constant figure, this one represents what 100%. I mean, now if you know weight of A and you don't know weight of B, if weight of A is 40%, what will be the weight of B? 60%. How do you get it? 40 minus 100. That's what you are saying here. That is a 1 minus 0.40. That's what you are saying here. So that means D. So your B, your weight of B can be said 1 minus 1 weight of A. That will be your B. So sometimes, because of some question, it will tell you that Mr. A want to invest in Q and S. What investment in Q is 10%. And that is better. How would you invest in the other one now? 90%. That does it. That way I can say it. Now, question.
So, this 1 minus weight of A,
yes.
It can only be used when we have 2 asset portfolio.
Of course. If you have 3 asset portfolio, then you can also lose now. If you have 3 asset portfolio, hello, 3 asset portfolio, return on A, Abi, times what? Weight of B, Abi, now, plus return of B times weight of B, Abi, then plus return on C, Abi, into bracket 1 minus weight of A minus the weight of B, Abi. That's it now. If you know the third one. But if you know the third one, that will be what? Weight of what? On C. The same thing. Any answer like that. But with everything you have, you know the 2, but you can know the 3. Abi? So depend on the question. Okay. Now let's practice this question now. Marisa, check back with me. Okay. Yes, sir.
Very well.
Okay. Volume theory. Expected return from 2 asset portfolio now. Also be you have 1 million. You have 1 million to invest in stock A and stock B. The following information is given for the 2 stocks. Okay, look at it though. We have stock A. We have their current price. We have expected price in 1 year's time,
Yes.
and we have the expected dividend. For stock A, For stock A, we have 40, 48, and 0, no dividend. For stock B, we have 50, 63, and what? And 2. One way, you have decided. You have what? Decided to invest 750 in A and 250 in what? In B. That's what? That's your proportion of your investment. Don't be paid in A. Out of 1 million, you invest 70,000. I mean, in B, how much do you invest? You invest 250,000. Let's try to convert it to percentage.
75%.
That means A is how many percent? 75%. B will be what? 25%. That means you invest 75% in A and what? And 5% in B. Now, okay, you are okay. A, the question A now. You are decided to invest 750 in stock A and 250 in stock B. Calculate the expected return on your portfolio now. Calculate what? And I said, before you can calculate the expected return, you must know the return of each of the stock. Thank God now, we have gotten our return investment in A, Abi, and weight in B, Abi. I say, when you are calculating return of portfolio, what you need is what? Return of A, Abi, times the weight of A, Abi, am I complete this? Plus return of B times what? Weight of B. This means from the question now, we have gotten our weight for A, we have gotten our weight for B, but we have not gotten our what? Returns. That means you must get your returns. So to get the returns for it now, returns for stock A, is very easy to achieve. Use your concept of total returns, which is capital yield plus dividend yield, abi, or capital gain plus that is formula by saying our return of A is equal to the end value, abi, minus beginning value over what? Beginning value plus what? Dividend. Let's go to stock A now. How much is our end value? 48, abi. That's the expected price in year in 1 year's time. Is what? 48. That will be 48 minus beginning value 40. 40. Then plus how much are dividend? 0. Divided by beginning value 40 times 100%. We get 20%. So we have gotten our what? Return for what? For A. Am I communicating, please? Am I talking, please? Let's go for return of stock B now. The return for stock B now. For stock B. For the stock B, we have return on B is equal to end value minus beginning value plus the dividend, abi, over what? Beginning value. What's our end value? 63. That is 63 minus beginning value 50 plus dividend of how much? 2 over beginning value 50. Then times 100. What do we have? 30%. Hello. So once I think all our variables is complete now, abi, we know our weights and we know our what? Return. So therefore, the return of portfolio is equal to weight of it. 0.75 times return of B 20%, abi, plus 0.25 times what? 30%. So therefore, our return of portfolio should be what? We go 22.5%. Is that difficult to address? No. My answer is no. Now let's look at it further. About B part. Now, assume you desire an expected return of 28%. Now, they want to turn the question upside down now. What our return here? 20%, 20.5 now. One pay. If you are required to determine you want to achieve a return that is how much? 28%. I mean, on your portfolio. How would you invest your 1 million naira? How will you invest your 1 million? That is, what will be your proportion of investment? What will be your proportion of investment? Now look at it now. Our desired return is how many percent of the question? 28%. Now, based on our formula, we say return of portfolio is equal to what? Weight of A times return of A plus return of B times 1 minus weight of A. Anytime that you are looking for the proportion of investment, it's your best option to go for this equation. Now, if this one is 28, I mean, if this one is 28, you know the return of A to be how much? 20. You know the return of B to be 30. Then, what will be the proportion of your investment? Let's insert 28, Abi, is equal to, we don't know this one, that's what I'm looking for. Weight of A, Abi, times return of A, 20. Am I complicated, please? Plus return of B, 30. It will get 1 minus weight of A. With this, find your weight of A first. Once you know your weight of A, automatically you get your what? Weight of B. How do you do that? Weight of A times 20, what do you have?
20.
That be 28 is equal to what? 28 weight of A. I mean, plus that times this, 30 minus 30 weight of A. Arrange it, collect the light arms. The light arms, okay. This one will come back here, Abi. Or let me do like this. 28 is equal to this and this. Minus 10 weight of A plus 30, Abi. This 30 will go to this side, Abi. It will be 28 minus when plus chorus bridge become what? Become minus, Abi. I think the bridge divided by bridge not pay. What minus what? 30 is equal to what? 10 minus is equal to minus 10 weight of A. Am I communicating, please? Yes, so this one would have be what? Minus 2 is equal to minus 10 weight of A. Where was I by minus 10?
Minus 2.
Yes. Minus 10. Mathematically, that will be minus 2 divided by minus 10. What do you have? So our weight of A go to what?
20%.
That will be 20%. That's our 0.2 Abi. 0.2. So if our weight of A is now 20%, what will the weight of B? 80%. So therefore, don't forget, we said our weight of B is equal to what? 1 minus what? Weight of A. Abi. So therefore, weight of B is equal to 1 minus 0.2. So therefore, weight of B is equal to what? 0.8. Give us what? 18. So therefore, we must invest now in your stock A. In stock A, you invest how many percent?
20%.
20 of 1 million. What do you have?
200,000.
Invest 200,000. Then in stock B, you invest how much?
800,000.
That's how you invest if you want to achieve a return of what? 28%. Any question? Alisa? Yeah. Now, that will be. Okay, oh, either it's a. Is that? Now, Let's go a step further now. That is how we determine our returns. Diversification to reduce risk. Hello? Diversification to do what? If you have the opinion that the risk on this investment is too high, you can diversify. You can what? Diversify. If you have the opinion that ICANN is too tough, you can do what? Diversify. Eh? Now, why I say this? Diversification to reduce risk. Investment also, you can reduce your risk by using the concept of diversification. To a certain extent, to a what? An investor can reduce the investment risk. Yes, you can do that. You can do that. In other words, reduce the risk, reduce the volatility of expected return by diversifying his investment and own a portfolio of different investments. You can what? Hold a what? A portfolio of different investments. Yes. By doing that, what are you trying to do? You are trying to reduce the risk. Creating a portfolio of different investments can reduce the what? Variation of return from the total portfolio. When you create a portfolio of different investments, it can reduce the variation in the return. What does that mean? Because if some investments provide a lower than expected return, other will provide a higher than expected return. Extremely high or low return from the overall portfolio are therefore less likely to occur. What I say is, if you are trying to ratify, you try to open all like A, B, C in a single portfolio. If this return is low, this one may what? Come up, I mean, and not maybe what? Maybe average. So in total, you are to avoid a very low return on your what? On your portfolio, because the effect of low somewhere will be pushed by what? Higher of the other one. Are we together? Are we together? Okay, let's continue a little bit now. Similarly, a company will reduce the investment risk in its business by what? By diversifying. By do what? Diversifying. I think a lot of social media advice recently, that now that the fuel is now high, everybody should be looking for what? Different hair. Only on the call watch, ló jẹ́ kíni, ló jẹ́ kíni. Alájà on the call watch, ló jẹ́ kíni ṣe kíni.
Kíni ọmọ àṣà ẹ̀ka.
Wàá sọ̀rọ̀ parọ́ bí ẹ ṣe ẹ̀ diversify nìyẹn. Ẹ fẹ́ ṣe ṣáàkà bẹ́ẹ̀ àbí ilé tó bá wá gbà á ṣe ọ̀nà ọkọ̀ owó ọjà ló jẹ́ tí a máa fi kó búrọ̀ àgbà wá kíláàsì. Má tàbá ọmọ pé you must buy for me. If you don't buy for me, you don't go for me. Now, what am I saying is, when you are trying to diversify, you are trying to reduce the risk involved in your business. My boy. Similarly, a company will reduce the investment risk in its business by what? Diversify. And build a portfolio of different investments. However, my boy, I'm sorry, it can be argued that there is no reason for a company to diversify its investments, because an investor can achieve all the diversification he requires by selecting a diversified portfolio of what? Equity investment. So what I'm trying to say is this: on a good day, if as an investor, if you are smart enough, by the time you want to select just one business, you might have selected a highly return and less risky investment. Those days, people study medicine. Why? Even now, people study medicine. Why? Hello?